Thank you for attempting at raising my mood, Galena. No, it's not your fault. I don't think anything would have been able to lift my spirits. Yes, I used to adore the Colosseum. I've had some of the best times of my life in these stands, watching whatever rabble the gods managed to find, brutalize each other. My siblings sitting across from me, you ensuring none of my brothers got too overzealous, recreating what they saw. I even remember the time Father joined us. Such a rare treat to pull him away from the throne. I wonder if he felt as I do now. Maybe that's why he was always so unamused with our shenanigans. I'm sorry. I shouldn't trouble you with that sort of thought. Thank you for dragging me out of my studies, Galena. You've been a great help to me over the years. I mean it. You're the best parental figure I could have asked for. You know, barring the obvious. I know this isn't the first time I've promised such, but when the time comes for you to retire, I wish to ensure you're well taken care of. It's the least I can do. I'll have no rebuttal. You've been wonderful, and if it's my last breath, you will be rewarded. Whatever you say, Galena. Now, would you have our horses brought up? I think this match is more than decided. It's not as though the champion will fall to that. Galena, what just happened? No, I saw what unfolded just fine. I'm simply a little perplexed. Did it look to you as if that Gladiator and the lightning? I feel as though I'm going mad, but I know what I just saw was true. You saw it. The crowd saw it. The Gladiator killed the champion. But that can't be right, can it? Surely the lightning must have been a coincidence or a trick or something. They couldn't have caused it, could they? Gods above, it was unreal. Just a moment, a flicker, and boom! The champion reduced to ash. I'm not sure if I should be horrified or exhilarated. How do you think the gods even got that one into the arena? Even putting aside the lightning, surely that individual can't be defenseless. They lasted this long into a free-for-all without as much as a spark. That sort of power, that feeling that practically radiates off of them. Not quite confidence, more so tenacity, maybe certainty. It's hard to say from this far away, but even if I can't place it, I can feel it. How would you even begin to subjugate something like that? How could you? Galena, I don't think I'll be needing my horse anytime soon. I'd rather have you call for a carriage. Yes, for the exact reason you're thinking. Foolish maybe, but that, whatever they are, may just be the linchpin to solving my problems. I'd be a much greater fool to let them slip through my fingers. Well then, wish me luck to not be scorched, yes? Thank you, Galena. Yes, I'm looking for our new champion. Is this the room? Splendid. I'd like a moment alone if that could be managed. Thank you. Congratulations on your victory, champion. Not a talker, I see. Not to worry. I don't need a name to talk your ear off. I do hope you aren't against a drink, though. It'd be a waste of the bottle if I was left with it all. It's straight from Solopsis, 170 years old. Kept in maple barrels twice that age. I also brought a red if you'd prefer. Hello? Are we fully conscious over there? I don't think I've seen you blink since I entered. And I'm certain your chest hasn't risen once. Ah, well, good to know you're alive. If I step forward to hand you the glass, will you maul me? I'm sorry if that came off as insulting. I've only ever seen lions stare that intently. There you are. Now, may we toast to your victory, champion? Still no name? I see. I'll be honest, I don't think you'd be this little of a talker, but I'd have more than enough practice speaking to people who had altogether less to say than you, albeit those people had a tendency to speak quite a bit. My name is Sidonia, 8th to the throne of Lyell, current Chancellor of Palmyra, sire of... Oh, well then I'm quite at a disadvantage then, aren't I? All I know of you is what I saw in the arena, and I suppose that you have a lovely voice. And that you're immune to empty flattery as well. Quite the informative little moment we're having, no? Ah, I see my new favorite silence has returned. So that makes you slow to outburst as well. Plus, you're involved enough with reality to have heard of me. Likely not a hermit. If I asked you about the little display you put on earlier, would you tell me? A quick and decisive no. And through all of this, you've yet to even raise your wine glass. So either rather mistrustful or you've no strong affinity for alcohol. Either way, a foreign barbarian seems off the table. Why does it seem as though every piece of information I get from you simply begs more questions? Maybe that's purposeful. But somehow I can't believe that the whole mysterious stranger persona you have is an act. Well, since my admittedly rude attempts at reading you are clearly useless, and it would seem as though you don't want to talk, why don't we skip ahead to step 2, and I can judge your character later. You know my rambling would be a lot easier to segue if you spoke. Ooh, that tightened your stare. I wonder if I set a trigger, or if we've simply hit the end of your patience. Either way, no reason to stall any longer. How would you, my nameless champion, like a job? Ah, are we standing for a pummeling, or have I... Oh, your wine glass. I take it you want me to leave? I certainly hadn't expected that outcome. At least not this peaceably. I think I'll have to reject the opportunity, as dangerous as going against your desires may be. I'm simply not ready to leave just yet. And at that, you don't even raise a hand. Really. Just straight back to the recovery bed. You are a rather odd person, aren't you? Actually, I suppose I never even verified that much. Are you a person? A human, specifically. To be clear, I don't mean for that to be an insult either. I've just never known anyone to smite their opponents with lightning. It seemed nothing short of myth. What would I have to offer to get this conversation rolling? A meal, maybe? A real one, not whatever the physicians could spare. How about someone to warm that bed? I can get you away from this Colosseum, assuming you are here by force like everyone else. On that note, I'd love to know how exactly you ended up here after seeing your rather electric display. I was skeptical you could be captured, but seeing you up close, I'm certain you couldn't have been. You don't get biceps that wide by rolling over at the first sign of trouble. Or that many scars, I'd imagine. Come now, you've got to want something, yes? I'm aware that my presence has probably been quite annoying, but there's no need to be stubborn. As much of a pest as I may be, you shouldn't immure yourself to just spite me. Especially not when I'm offering you, functionally, anything. Why? As in, why shouldn't you spite me, or why must you want something? Why am I offering? Well, I think that's rather obvious. I believe that if I get you talking, we can discuss that work proposition that I brought up. And from there, I hope to convince you to accept the position. And with that, I think I could stand to gain, well, everything. So, to summarize, I'm offering for a self-serving reason that I believe also benefits you. Does that answer your question? Is it this method of dialogue that's causing so much silence on your part? Because I don't have to speak in this crystal mirror sort of way. If you'd rather I'd be less reflective or maybe more obfuscated, then I'd be happy to. Hopefully that emphasizes exactly how much I wish to garner your support. A second why. I certainly hope you don't think you can annoy me with persistently flat questions like that. I love this sort of spiraling thought. I wish to garner your support because, as I've implied, I think you may be the key to a large problem I'm having. Or more specifically, the cure to the stress I'm feeling about a problem that seems impossible to solve. I'll take your silence as an offer to elaborate. Well, as you may be aware, if that history you're hiding is one of nobility, positions of power are not quite as lush as they seem. Well, they are exactly as lush as they seem in most regard. But there are two very hungry wolves waiting at the door. The first is largely tamed, in my case. Considering my father's rather totalitarian position on public rights, I'm not very worried about civil unrest, mass uprising, non-militant assassination, or really much of anything like that. But that leaves the second wolf, or rather the pack circled around me. Maybe snakes would be more of an apt descriptor. Pack of snakes, or... sorry, I usually have this sort of grand monologue in the bath. No one to judge me but the soaps. My fellow elites are what worry me. Not just the ones under me, understandably looking to move upward, but I think more pressingly, the ones above. My siblings. What would you be worried about sabotage from above the chain of command? Well, I'm glad you didn't ask, my friend. Put abruptly, it's because I know, they know, I know, they know, etc. Ooh, finally, a different expression. And that half annoyed, half confused look is the perfect cue to keep talking, which I think you realize is one of my favorite activities. One day, my eldest brother will ascend the throne of the Empire, and he is aware that all of his siblings know this. He likely believes we would attempt to seize the power given the opportunity, which, at least in my case, is absolutely true. That would make him the only threat, But this is where knowing other people know what I know truly begins. My eldest brother is not my eldest sibling. Father had a daughter first. For her to rule, she would have to dispose of my eldest and second eldest brothers, thanks to so very odd laws ordering succession between age and gender. The rest of my brothers would have to kill anyone older than them, and my sisters would functionally have to cull the whole family, ignoring a pair of twins and a sibling or two that wouldn't mind if another specific sibling ruled instead of them, and you end up with a complete bloodbath. And after all that mess, you would get to me, the youngest of 8, and the only sibling whose mother wasn't a noble. Because of that pesky little fact, if I wanted to ascend the throne, I'd have to get rid of absolutely all of them. Full stop. And whether I do that or not, they all know that's what I've had to do. And I know they know, and they know that too. What I'm left with is the inability to make alliances and a fairly high spot on any defensive kill list. Now, in all truth, I don't need the throne. Maybe in a few decades I'd attempt a more invisible coup, but the flat-out murder of my family is not something I wish to participate in. That said, not every member of my family share my sentiment, and with father growing older, those tensions run tighter every day. I was here at the Colosseum because apparently the stress of constant lethal peril has an effect on the human psyche. Galena, bless her soul, had noticed I'd been acting strange, not quite like myself, and considering my normal involves monologuing in empty bathrooms and refusing the wishes of a very scary strangers, that says something. She brought me here because she thought seeing this place might calm my nerves. And it did, because I saw you. And I realized that you could be the perfect way to solve all of this. Not only could you likely protect me, but you could also serve as a fantastic deterrent, keeping me safe from direct assassinations and, if presented correctly, preventing future attempts, giving me ultimate peace of mind. Or potentially giving me a very swift death because with you I'd present more of a threat, but I'd prefer not to consider that angle. With all that laid out, thanks for that opportunity, by the way, I absolutely love saying all that. We loop back to answering your question, which hopefully leads into the conversation I've been pushing for, followed by your accepting the offer and my actualization of that massive outline. You asked why I wanted to garner your support, and in the end, it's because I'm desperate and scared and alone, and I think you'd make a great strategic ally. I also think you may just be about the only ally I can actually get my hands on, so it's very important that you like me. So, there's your question. Only took me 10 minutes to answer. I don't know exactly. My sense of time is terrible. Regardless, here's hoping my verbose nature has proved endearing, not aggravating, and you're willing to accept my offers at conversation. If for nothing else, then for the fact that conversation has me listening for a few moments, whereas your refusal has me continuing to babble. Of course, there's always option 3. You could snap my neck and go back to healing in silence. Ah, a full sentence, and one with a much shorter answer from me, no less. I only suggest the neck snapping because I am more than confident that you wouldn't do that to me. I may know almost nothing about you, but basic reasoning shows that if you were willing to kill me for talking too much, I'd already be dead. Plus, a little part of me thinks you may have actually enjoyed listening to all this. You say that, but the fact you responded to all proves a budding chemistry. I'm winning this little game, and oddly enough, I think you realize that. So since you've basically all but agreed to speak more and you clearly don't want to finish that wine, why don't we go? I have a carriage ready for us, and I'd love to continue this conversation. After you.